Meta ads, how do you turn $3,000 into $10,000, $25,000, and even $50,000 in 2026 by feeding the AI algorithm certain data that can bypass and target people beyond demographics and interests without funnels, without waiting 6 months before you get results, and without burning through ad spend? Well, first we have to understand how the new AI algorithm works. And the truth is, it doesn't look at what it used to. It doesn't look at demographics or interest or these other categories that you give it. In fact, there's even been times where the algorithm ignores the age restrictions you put on your videos. So if you want to target people 28 plus, or 30 plus, sometimes you get people in their early 20s and even teens. Meaning, what does the AI algorithm even look at? Well, it looks at the actual data in your ads. It can even crawl on your website, watch videos on your website, and look at other pages of your website that aren't even listed as the destination in the ad. So when most people try to run a one-liner ad with a catchy headline and a video attached below, it doesn't do much because the AI algorithm can look at the video, but it also looks at that headline. And if you give it one line of data, it won't target anyone useful. It'll have barely anything to work off in terms of putting your ad in front of the right people. The Andromeda ad system update really looks at the creative itself and is more focused on testing various creatives instead of testing a bunch of different audiences based on the demographics you feed it. In fact, it tests audiences based off of your creatives. And this is super cool because you can actually target people that you would have never found before. Meaning, the old way, if you were, let's say, a business owner targeting CEOs, you would have to put CEO in the demographic qualification of your Meta Ads Manager before launching the ads. But here's the issue. A lot of CEOs, especially on personal accounts, don't have listed that they're the CEO of a company. They're just there to share pictures of their family and stuff like that. So here's where the algorithm comes in. That person still likes CEO-related content, though, and business-related content. So the AI algorithm tracks all of that and puts certain traits and data on that user/person that it then uses to show that person your ad, if again your ad is done right. So now you can target twice, 5 times, even 10 plus times as many people depending on your industry. And you can target them way more reliably because people scroll all the time. And imagine every single video they liked, every comment they put, every little metric, whether they watched a video for 1.3 seconds or 1.5 seconds, being stored in a database forever and being used to serve your ad campaign and make you money, if again, you utilize this the correct way, which is where my next point comes in. With this knowledge, how do we actually make meta ads work? Well, I've explained part of it briefly already, but how exactly do you target your market through your ads and make people buy? Well, you have to work on much longer form ads. Videos don't necessarily have to be that long. In fact, it's better if they're shorter, but specifically the caption is what you want to focus on. You want to not only have a longer form caption, but you want to structure it a very specific way, not just with keywords, but through the actual storyline of it in order for it to show up in front of the right people and for the right people to, of course, respond well to it. This mixed with the right creative, image or video, which again has its own other process, which I'll share in another video, will give you winning ads that generate you money for the next few months, even potentially a year plus or 2 years on end, depending on how long this algorithm update stays dominant. So essentially, if you're taking people to a website, make sure your website has as much relevant data about your market and things that are relevant to them so that Facebook can rank it higher in its categories before it even launches your ad. And while the ad is running, it can optimize it for the right people. Not only that, but your page's content as well. Remember, this AI scans and stores everything. So the best way to run ads in 2026 is to give the AI the most data that it can work with to target your correct audience. Not only maybe writing a 400 or 500 word caption instead of 1 or 2 lines, but also posting a bunch of content regularly, updating your website and writing blogs regularly, and most importantly, again, not just having longer form ads, but longer form ads that are actually structured a specific way to target your market and the right section of the market, which is where the next layer comes in. What do I even mean have your ads structured the right way? Well, everyone has a market, right? But your market isn't actually what you think it is. I'll give business coaching again as a very simple example. If you're a business coach who helps business owners, let's say local business owners, make more money, then you think someone who is in your target audience is someone who is a local business owner looking to make more money, right? They're looking for a coach like you, or looking for a method, or looking for something to make them more money. But that's really only 1 to 5% of your target audience. Because if you've been keeping up with any of my content recently, then you know that that's not really your target audience at all. That's your most aware, lowest hanging fruit target audience. Because there are 2 more audience segments. If you want more info on that, I'll attach a link down in the description where I explain it further. But basically, 70% of your market isn't even aware of the problems they're having. They could be aware of the symptoms, they could be a stressed business owner, but they're not aware of the actual problems that are causing it. So if you offer your business coaching as a solution, they haven't even accepted or known of the problems they're having that you're helping solve. So why would they ever buy your solution? 70% of people are unaware, or they've stayed aware to a point without solving their problem, to the point where the problem is at the back of their head, so they're again not aware anymore because they don't care. Then you have 25% who has actually looked deeper into it. Why am I stressed as a business owner? Why is my business not making XYZ amount of money? They've looked into the problem and they're now aware of it. That's around 25% of the market. But they're not looking for a solution yet. Multiple reasons this could be. Limiting beliefs, they don't think they have enough time, or they're not good enough, etc., etc. They might not think they have the right information. They might not even know solutions like you, business coaches, for example, are out there. Whatever it is, they're not looking for a solution. But eventually, they do look for a solution, most people at least. This is where the next stage, the 1 to 5% of people, your ideal avatar, your solution-seeking portion of your audience comes in. These are people who have been aware of the symptoms, they've looked into the symptoms, looked into their problems, they've been aware of their problems, they're now just looking for a solution. These people don't need to have their sob story heard, they just want a solution. So you can briefly mention the problem they're having, but you don't want to go crazy deep into it where they feel a bunch of pain, because they've already been through that. That won't get you the sale. What will get you the sale is talking about your solution specifically and how it relates to the problems they're having, which they already know a lot about. Now, with that being said, the cool thing about the Andromeda ad system update is that you, for example, can not only target CEOs/business owners, you can also target CEOs and business owners who are solution seeking. How do you do that? I mentioned length of ads and length of the content and data you feed the AI algorithm, but I didn't mention too much about the actual content yet, or at least not much of it. The actual content that you should have in your ads, or in the website that your ads are going to, if you want those lowest hanging fruits, which are solution seeking people who don't need crazy weeks of awareness processes, etc., in order to buy, be convinced of their problems, etc. They're just looking for a coach like you already. And maybe if they're not even looking for a coach, they're looking up on YouTube, how do I solve XYZ problem? Their general state of mind is looking for some type of solution to their problems. Again, that 1 to 5%. You can target those people through the wording in your ad. Now, as I mentioned, what are solution-seeking people focused on? They're focused on a solution, of course. So symptom-based or problem-based language won't really work with them unless it's to briefly hook them so that they listen to you. For example, hey, if you're having XYZ problem, here's a solution to it. But again, if they're solution seeking, they've already seen multiple solutions and have maybe even worked with a coach like yourself before. So what hooks them isn't really the problem, but the specific solution that you have and the timing of it. Because you offering it right now when they're solution seeking and it being unique and actually working is what gets them to buy. So let's say they've even been through a business course before, it didn't help them, didn't make them any money. You could have a solution-seeking based hook saying, here's how business coaching or here's how XYZ method is the best way to grow your business in 2026. They will be hooked on that, they will watch it, and because they are really aware, they will analyze it in their own brain and think, does this really make sense? Is it a good solution? And if it is, which I assume if you run a business and you're watching this video, your solution is actually good and of course helps people, then they'll actually like what you're saying and they'll reach out, which means that these ads being too salesy in them doesn't even work. You want to show up as yourself and talk about the solution, which is what will get them to reach out and buy. Basically have a conversation with them through the ad. Because I'm sure you've noticed when you talk to someone in your ideal target audience, you can talk about problems and just general concepts in depth that you can't with just regular people who aren't in your target audience. This will resonate through these solution-seeking ads. They will feel that you're on the same wavelength, and these people will reach out. Even if you're not a massive influencer, etc., they could tell person to person you're the type of solution that they've been looking for, because again, they're solution-seeking, and they will reach out and they will most likely buy, and it will be a frictionless sale because again, they're already aware. You don't need to convince them of, hey, your problems that you're having are bad, you should solve them now, you don't have to crank pain, you don't have to do any of that, because they know, they just want a solution, and as long as your solution is good, which again, I'm assuming it is, they reach out and they buy without much hesitation, or without hesitation at all. Now here's where we get another layer deeper. Can you use AI to tell you what it wants to see in these ads in order to rank your ads higher? And you actually can. And in fact, we have something coming soon called Converting Creatives that will help you do exactly that. We are currently training AIs to tell you how to write the best ad, and not only tell you how to write the best ad, but actually write them for you. Now here's the difference. It's not actual AI slop that the algorithm actually hates, by the way. The AI is trained based off real ads so that the structure and wording is actually real, human-like, and it's actually human-written because again, we gave it human-written examples that we ourselves worked on. And all you have to do is fill in the blanks depending on your coaching, depending on your niche or niche, depending on your market, depending on what your offer exactly is, and that's it. And you can launch the ads and you can get results. So not only does the AI actually take the best working ads that the AI algorithm has liked, and it'll tell you what they are and give you an easy version where you can just fill in the blanks and run winning ads. And PS, based off the examples we fed the AI, it will actually choose the best structure and strategy for your business, offer, preferences, goals, etc. And it will give you the fill in the blank version for that ad that you can fill out in 1 to 2 minutes and get a 3 times, 5 times, even in certain cases 10 plus times return. The AI will also give you the up-to-date latest information on what it actually wants to see from you so that it ranks the ads higher. You're literally getting sauce from the source of where your ads will be running. The same machine, the same algorithm knowledge, the same winning formula for you to run ads that work and get 3 times, 5 times, even in certain cases, we've seen 10 plus times ROAS on that first deal. Of course, if you have a good back-end retention, the ROAS could go up to infinity. But with this, you could easily get 10 plus times initial ROAS from the first offer that you sell someone, your high ticket offer, which in this case, you can actually sell your high ticket offer straight up without a load of high ticket ascension system like I usually preach, because these 1 to 5% of people are already looking for a solution, a real solution. So most people who would buy a $7 course would also actually buy coaching that's a few $1,000s from you only in this section of the market that's solution seeking. The issue is, of course, it's only 1 to 5% of the market, so eventually you have to expand beyond that, and I'll get to that in just a second. That's where low to high ticket really comes in. So then what's the best model to get high ticket clients with this Andromeda AI system update using this sort of AI strategy? What we found from the last few months of testing is DM ads. Ads that simply have a long form caption, a shorter video that still has the relevant information and is structured the correct way to target solution seeking people with a simple call to action to DM you. And then you have an appointment setter, ask them a few questions, qualify them, etc. before getting them on a call with you, which in about 60% of cases ends up being a close because they're pre-sold, pre-qualified, they're solution seeking, and they actually, I assume, like what you have to offer. It sounds simple, but this is also a method that has one of the highest failure rates if you don't do it the correct way, which is implementing all of these AI updates and integrations that I'm talking about. If you just run it the old way, you will burn ad spend. This is why so many people hate closer setter models and even have trauma or a visceral reaction to the word. So it's sort of a same old thing done a completely new way combined for it to actually work. If you have one or the other, it won't really do much. If you just have DM ads without the proper strategy, again, you will just waste thousands, even tens of thousands. And I've even heard some scary stories of hundreds of thousands without getting results. If you just use the AI, but use other models than DM ads, for example, you try and funnel solution-seeking people into a low to high ticket, you're just working against the current and harming yourself. So it's specifically this strategy with specifically using AI to target not only your correct market, but the solution seeking correct section of the market where this really tends to kick off and work. Long term, of course, you are going to go beyond that 1 to 5%. You are going to want low to high ticket. But if you have $3,000 to $10,000 that you want the absolute most return on instantly to boost your business an extra 10, 25, even 50 plus thousand a month, the highest person we've scaled with this model so far has went to a bit over 90,000 in additional income using this strategy. So you can go beyond, but usually we see an average of a 25 to 50K a month growth with this strategy, just staying at our base or a little bit higher ad spend level. Now here's another thing I'll tell you. This all sounds complex, and it's because it really is. So you can watch this video and you can go ahead and try to do it yourself based off the surface level concepts that I'm saying. I've told you what the concepts are, I've told you why we do them, but I haven't actually told you how to do them and how we specifically do them, which is the most important part. If you do this yourself, it's like saying, hey, I heard about investing in a book, so I'm going to go try and invest, instead of actually learning how to invest and the strategy, working with someone that can even do it for you, etc., etc. The term invest doesn't mean much. It actually depends on how you do it. Same thing here. The term marketing, the term AI, the term meta ads doesn't mean anything in and of itself. In fact, most people buy on hype, they do it themselves, or they have someone else do it that doesn't know what they're talking about, and they never get results because they're buying based off the buzzwords, if you will. Here, we've actually tested it for months on end since the launch of the Andromeda ad system update in October, and even before that as it was developing. So we've seen every step of how it's updated and what it responds well to. So if you'd be open to it, we can actually do this entire thing for you, as we've already done with many dozens of coaches, mentors, consultants, and online high-ticket offer owners in the information space. We can write all the ads the proper way, the proper length, so they actually show up not only in front of your market, but in front of the correct section of the market. We can run the ads for you and actually monitor the Andromeda ad system that uses its AI to feed you these clients, and we can make the tweaks and optimizations necessary for it to actually get your results. Also, DM appointment setting takes 2 to 4 plus hours out of your day every single day. We have our own setters, some of which have individually added 300,000 per month to a coaching company's revenue via their setting skills, and we can have them in there doing it for you so that before someone hops on a call with you or one of your team members, these people are already pre-qualified, pre-sold, they know they're buying something for a few $1,000s. You don't have a system where you book 10 calls a week and half no-show and the other half are unqualified, because we'd rather have you take 3 to 5 calls per week if most of them close. And we want them to be more of finalization calls instead of crazy sales calls where you have to juggle on the call and sell them a bunch of crazy things in order for them to actually buy. Again, these are solution-seeking leads. They're pre-sold, pre-qualified. They're calm. They're not sales crazy. And they just want to potentially work with someone like you as long as your expertise is good. We can also edit your videos and images as needed in the ads, because visual hooks and the information you visually feed people is actually extremely important for the feedback loops that the AI collects and how people respond to your ad, as well as even targeting the right people in the first place. If you do it wrong, this by itself can ruin your ad. And we also optimize your sales and offer as the last thing. A lot of coaches, mentors, consultants, etc. will undercharge because they're not getting the right people. They will compromise on what they're worth, and we don't want that. In fact, we recently had a coach go from charging $2,000 a month all the way up to $4,000 a month because she got so many qualified leads through this strategy. So if you want us to do all of this for you and do it the right way so that you can actually get a 5 times, even 10 plus times return on your ads, meaning every dollar you put into ads, you get $5 to $10 back just on that first offer. If you charge per month, again, that could be calculated to infinity, but let's say reasonable here, 5 to 10 plus times on that first offer doesn't sound too bad, then click the link down in the description to book a call with me or one of my team members today. We will see how we can potentially help you out, if we can help you out with a solution like this. And we'll also show you a bunch of people that we've already done it for that have gotten a 6 times return, a 12.5 times return in all kinds of different industries and niches. And in fact, I'll tell you, some have wasted $3,500. We had one guy waste over $21,000 trying it on his own before they came to us and actually got the results. So I think you'll like what you'll see. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the link down below to see if we can potentially help you out with something like this. I look forward to seeing you, and talk soon.